Hello and welcome to episode 1 of Time Will Tell. The Drake Bell podcast, and I'm Jordan, and I'm with Kai.
Hello. Thank you.
You're okay, Kai. You know, I'm not doing this at gunpoint.
I should I should add it in like applause, like crowd sounds. Thanks.
Yeah, I'll mute that for you. I want to welcome everybody to this because we're quite excited about it. We have quite a privileged position today that is to begin deep diving into the multi-tracks of the Drake Bell album, It's Only Time.
Yeah.
Which is really exciting, and what a position to be in.
True, and it's important to say we start, it's episode 1 of the It's Only Time podcast, and we start with a banger today. But there's a few things we want to talk about before diving into Up Periscope, which is track 1 of the record.
Absolutely. I guess we should probably make it clear that our intentions going forward are going to be that every episode we deep dive into the next song of the album.
Yeah.
And
totally.
Therefore, we can hopefully uncover some new things that people might not have ever noticed in those songs. I mean, I'm hoping in even this episode you'll hear things that you just didn't know existed, or at least hear them in a totally different light.
Yeah, that we can promise, because I mean, there's stuff you can't hear on the album. I think for Periscope it might be even more than we have in Found a Way, what we did last episode. There
Absolutely.
was also some things, but a Periscope definitely probably is full of little elements which are kind of hidden in the mix, like Easter eggs.
Yeah.
And that's what's actually great about it. Yeah,
it's just exciting. I geek out on this stuff, and I'm hoping that people will enjoy it too.
Yeah, and in the last episode we talked people who heard the first the episode 0 of the podcast. They know we talked last time a little about the first record, Telegraph, and that was because we wanted to give this album also the appreciation it deserved, but also, it was a good way to even start to this podcast project to see how it turns out, and I think probably when we're done with It's Only Time, I think we can say that there probably will be bonus episodes where we go back to Telegraph.
I hope so. That would be fun.
I think we will do that. I mean, it's very sure. I think I don't like to promise stuff, but I think we both want to do it. And last time we had Scott Bennett talking a little bit about the work on Telegraph, especially on Highway to Nowhere.
Yeah, I had no idea he played piano on that.
Me too, and I'm friends with him since 5 years. He never told me. He's very quiet, to be honest. He's not starting to talk out of nowhere about the stuff.
Yeah, I get that.
And it's totally fine. But I didn't know he played so much on Highway to Nowhere. And I must say I really loved how he had his piano in the voice call.
It just sounded like it.
Yeah, totally. And there's also if people want to check out, if people are still on Facebook, I think he has a video on his Facebook playing Highway to Nowhere on piano and singing to it. And there's also on his Bandcamp, and that's what I wanted to talk in the last episode about, but I forgot. He performed Highway to Nowhere in 2002 with the Brian Wilson Band, and he did vocals, and it's not a good recording. It's like an audience
because it's live. Yeah,
and it's not from the soundboard or something. It's not mixed. It's like someone had probably placed a microphone in in the audience, but you can hear they are really killing it, and that's from I gotta say it again. It's from 2002. Like
Yeah. Wow.
it's way before the album came out.
Yeah.
So they wrote this
Wow.
like ages ago. That it's older than 20 years actually, and that's so crazy.
Wow.
And yeah, that was great, and we did we got a lot of great comments on the video, I think, and also like private. I don't know if I received a few private messages from people, so and they really liked it. So thanks for this.
Yeah, absolutely. It did seem really well received, which is
Yeah,
lovely because I mean, we didn't know how it would come across.
yeah. I think it was kind of about time to do such a project because even though
No pun intended.
Yeah. But I mean, really, these albums, even if people don't believe that because it's from a Nickelodeon thing, like,
Yeah.
it has meaning to people. So,
Absolutely.
and it's fucking old. Like, it's so long ago, and it still has meaning to people.
I mean, for me, it's like that, or these albums, I suppose, these first two Drake Bell albums are the soundtrack to my formative years as I was growing up.
Yeah.
And like, I still, obviously, you'll be the same to this day, reference it and listen to it regularly. And, you know, that it's an amazing thing. So it's a really privileged place to be able to celebrate that, I think, and share that with
and how
other
much? Tell me, how much people do you know, like, who listened to really good pop, rock, power pop, inspired by the 60s, inspired by like all these great artists? Like, how much people had listened to that kind of music in their teen years? Like, all people I know, they listen to like completely different stuff.
Boyzone.
Like, I don't know. I don't want to like say that it's bad to listen to,
Of course.
like, One Direction or something, but like, it's
But it
different.
is. No, it's not.
I mean, it's different, and we, like, I think it's like, I don't know. Usually, probably a lot of people are embarrassed today for what they like, for what music they heard in their kid or teen years.
Yeah.
And I don't actually, because I still listen to that shit. So, so, and it's
Yeah,
still
it's true.
it's still good music. Like, you can listen to it today.
I mean, it's a little bit like, not to get too deep here, but when I, you know, meet an older person, you know, of the older generation, and, you know, they still listen to the things that they listen to, you know, Frank Sinatra from probably, you know, their teen years.
Yeah.
And I dare say it will be the same for everyone else going forward. You know, you latch on to what you like and you will continuously listen to that.
Yeah. By the way, I have a little story. I just remembered. Like, it's totally fitting to the topic right now, and it's a little. I think it must be. What year was it? I don't know. Probably 2010 or 2011. I think 2010 probably. So
Okay.
I listened a lot to the live album from Drake back then.
The Mexico DVD.
Yeah. I think I ripped the DVD and like ripped the WAV file so I can put it on my phone and stuff. So listen to it. And I was living at my mother's apartment back then, because I was, what age? I think I was like 16, 17.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And I listened like nonstop to that record. And my mother had a friend like staying for, I think, like a week or something. And this is like a 2-room apartment. So
Right.
he was sleeping in my room, actually. He was like 40 and he didn't know Drake at all. But he was working on stuff all the time in that room while I was sitting on my computer working. I had this this live album. Like, it was, I think he heard the full thing because he was in the room all the time. And at one point, and that's, by the way, that's a person, he was not like a music person at all. Like, not listening to any music, not interested at all. But at one point he talked to me like, this is really good music. Like, this is like, he was like kind of blown away, and he was not even like a music person, but he was like, this is fucking good music.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is so tasteful. Like I don't know why he felt the need to tell me that, because I was like obviously a fan of that, but like probably he hadn't heard something like this before, because it was kind of pop rock mixed with jazzy elements, like the horn sections and like that.
And it was a big team of people as well.
Yeah. And I mean, we will dive into that in another episode for sure. Because we can say already, we're gonna have a special guest, another one soon, hopefully.
Yes. Should we say who?
No, let's not say who. Let's
guess in the comments.
Yeah, but it's like, should we say who it not is? Because I don't want people to have hope.
True.
Like, there's two people.
Let's not disappoint.
But yeah, I mean, it's dumb, because if we say who's not gonna be on the podcast, it's really obvious who will be on the podcast.
It's true.
So just guess, guys.
Yeah.
Just guess in the comments. But this person told us up front that there's stuff about the live record he wants to talk about. So yeah, but this was great to hear, like, as a 16-year-old, to hear from the 40-year-old people, like, how good my music tastes, like how good it is. Like,
Yeah.
That was.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I know, but
This is why I listen.
Like, I was teaching the old people what good music is.
Yeah,
Not the
yeah.
other way around.
It's true, yeah. I don't think that's so true of today's music. But anyway, that's not what we're about.
Yeah.
So, just to finalize the previous episode.
Yeah.
There was something else that I wanted to mention that I completely forgot to mention regarding the Telegraph album, which was the song Circles. And I can't remember who mentioned it. I think it was a mutual friend of ours who made it obviously clear that counting the intro, so this is really geeky music now,
Yeah.
counting the intro, it doesn't start on beat one.
Yeah.
In Circles. And it was just never obvious. I never remotely thought about it.
Same. It's funny because it was kind of obvious, but we never noticed. Like, like if you told me a few days ago, right? I didn't listen to this song, but when I read what you said to me, what you wrote to me, I was like, yeah, that's true. But I didn't like listen back
Just
to it
didn't
because
think to- yeah.
because I remembered. Yeah, that's right. It's true.
Yeah.
It's obvious, but we didn't notice at all. Like,
So weird. So it's actually beat two that the song
Yeah.
begins on.
yeah, it's kind of like "Drive My Car" from the Beatles, which is also
Yes,
Like,
yeah.
I cannot, like, I'm always, if I try to be in the beat at the beginning of the song, I always fail because
Yeah.
I didn't figure out yet. But I know it's like, maybe they did it because it's interesting. But
I guess, I mean, I think, I don't know for sure, this could be something that we could maybe eventually future ask a potential guest. We'll see.
Yeah.
That sound, the intro guitar part, is what's underneath the chorus, which of course does start on beat one, but the guitar part doesn't. So I'm assuming it was just, for lack of a better word, lifted from there, and it just happened to not fit at beat one.
yeah.
That's my only logical thought.
Yeah. Also, I don't know if we want to mention this in this episode, but we could have mentioned in the last episode that Circles has one credit, which probably people didn't realize, that there's
This
one
is,
person
yeah.
on there, like, who they know, but they didn't realize because no
Yeah.
one reads the credits. I don't know if it was in the credits in the CD, but
I think it was. Shall we say? I think you are saying Josh Peck.
yeah, the beatbox.
Beatboxing, yeah.
Yeah, and that's also something you don't notice. I mean, you notice there's some kind of beat going on, but
Yeah.
you probably don't notice it's beatboxing. But yeah, once you hear
Although
it, you
saying
can
that,
unhear
he
it.
says it, doesn't he? In
What?
the right at the intro finishes, I'm sure he says something like, "I always heard it as this. It might not be this, but it's something like Joshua Peck beatbox or something like that. He's like the word beatbox is in there.
Jewish kid beatboxing.
Oh, I need to re-listen to that. I didn't notice. I didn't know. Before we dive into a Periscope, I think we should now probably like talk a little about the It's Only Time record. But I will say we will we will for sure have like a detailed conversation about It's Only Time in one. Maybe it's a bonus episode. Maybe it's something different we didn't figure out yet. But it will be detailed. It will have a guest, and but now I think we can talk about a few little things which are important to the record. So first of all, It's Only Time is released December 5, 2006, which is like almost 20 years ago.
Yeah.
We are very early for the 20th anniversary, but we don't care. And there's one thing I think which probably people also didn't really notice, because It's Only Time, it was like the first record Drake signed a record deal for with like a major deal. And the interesting thing is that he wasn't on like the normal Universal thing. He was on Universal Motown.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and Universal Motown is basically the same thing as the label Motown, on which the Jackson 5 were on, like Stevie Wonder, like all these
Sort of more
R&B,
soul,
yeah. And that's because Universal bought the company in the 90s. So from that time on, it was Universal Motown, but it's basically the same Motown as in like the 60s.
Yeah.
Even though probably not with the same people, but it's crazy. Why wasn't he just as on Universal?
Yeah.
Because like in that time there were many people like on Universal and not Motown. Like, I don't know why, but it's
yeah, I never really thought about that. That's interesting.
Yeah. He basically was on the label where the Jackson 5 were. but 40 years later or something.
Absolutely, yeah. That's cool though.
Yeah. And also I think we should point out the artwork on It's Only Time is really Beatles influenced, because it's kind of in a submarine.
Yes, yeah. It's quite
Even though
conceptual, isn't it?
It's conceptual, yeah. I mean, they kept it really modern.
Yeah.
Like on the front artwork, you can see it here, by the way. Like it's really modern. Like his clothes, like he didn't even wear stuff like that in 2006. You know, like he was like when you saw him somewhere, he always had like a classic suit, 60s,
True, yeah,
50s, whatever, and he didn't look like that. But they probably wanted it to be more.
Contemporary and
yeah. So the young people can relate to that.
I get that.
But when you look into the artwork, you see actually him in suits again, and it's different. and yeah, it's all like I think it's all inspired by Yellow Submarine.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, we know that Drake's a big Beatles fan.
He actually hates them, so no.
Yeah, he hates the Beach Boys as well. Jellyfish can't stand them.
He always says he loves Mick Jagger, but he hates. No, I'm joking.
He loves Aqua Barbie Girl is his favorite song.
Yeah, yeah. But I heard he loves Bruce Springsteen, but I'm not sure if this is true. But yeah, just wanted to point out the artwork because it's cool. And
That's a good point,
and I'm sad to say this, but if we had recorded this episode like a week earlier, I could tell you that you can get your It's Only Time vinyl on Elastic Stage, but actually it's
sold out, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, right now it's sold out. Though you can get the Lost album and A Reminder on that, and of course Telegraph on Elastic Stage. And I think people love the fact that the Lost album has bonus tracks on it. But back to It's Only Time, because one thing I think is also interesting. I think Drake, and there's an interview on YouTube still. He had his car crash, like this famous car crash. I think, I don't know if it was before they start writing. I don't think so. I think it was somewhere in the writing of It's Only Time. And I think probably this car crash made the album even better.
Yeah.
Because
I mean,
Which
sounds a weird thing to say, but yeah.
yeah, it
okay.
sounds weird, but it made his, like, I think after that he was kind of really energetic to
Yeah.
write and to go like play music live, and
Yeah.
he was probably really, like, I imagine if I had such a car crash, I would be so happy to be alive, and I would like probably change a lot of things maybe.
Yeah. Which
So-
makes sense for the sort of happy, boppy feeling of It's
Yeah.
Only Time, I guess.
Yeah.
I remember, I'm sure there was an interview that Drake did. It'll have been around that time. When I'm sure he said that he had to have vocal surgery. I could be wrong. He wasn't sure if he'd ever be able to sing again. I remember that.
Oh, I don't remember that actually.
And therefore, he was just really grateful that, he was still alive and he could still do what he does. And therefore, that's why the album is very upbeat and happy.
Yeah.
Hence, Makes Me Happy and all those kind of songs are on it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. We don't know about the car crash, but I think it's like a really like known story. So maybe people probably know more than us and can like put it in the comments if you
Absolutely.
want to. But I also want to say that It's Only Time. I mean Telegraph as well, but It's Only Time gained a lot of interest, like among music people, like
Yeah.
same as Telegraph, because I still see sometimes really old forums with like threads, people like asking if the people of Jellyfish were involved in It's Only Time because it sounds so good.
Yeah.
And this was already in 2006, so like
true.
it was really appreciated from really like music people, and not only from little girls. I gotta say it like that, you know.
Yeah,
it
yeah,
was
exactly,
it was even though maybe there were more of the girls on the concerts, which is great because I think it's a great music, which I think like young people, it's crazy to see the live DVD. Like there's so young kids in that show with a brass band and with like a jazzy piano
Yeah.
player, and it's so good.
It's not your stereotypical
No.
suiting, is it? Yeah.
And there's 10,000 people. Like, it's crazy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I think It's Only Time was kind of his breakthrough into getting taken seriously as a musician from like musicians, actually, not only
Yeah.
from the teen kids, whatever.
I've seen on some forums when I've done some digging about this, and there are people out there that have said and sort of praised the production elements particularly,
Yeah.
because it's so intricate and in depth. It's not your. I don't want to label all contemporary music as being kind of rubbish, but it's not your typical pop.
Yeah.
It's actually quite heavy. I assume it seems very heavily thought about and intricate.
Yeah.
And as you say, a lot of musicians love it for that reason, as opposed to, just your normal pop album that is just,
Yeah,
churned out.
And Drake was even on like big TV shows in 2006. Like he was on Conan O'Brien.
Yeah.
He was on Regis, like Regis and no, what's the name?
Kelly
Kelly. Regis
and Regis. Yeah,
Kelly,
yes.
Regis.
Yeah.
Regis and Kelly. Okay.
That's it.
He performed. I think he performed I Know on both of these shows, and he was on TRL like 10 times. I think.
I remember a really popular version of I Know on there, acoustic, just him.
Yeah. And it's different than I think being on TRL, like being on MTV, is different than just having your music in Nickelodeon shows. Like it's a little bigger than that.
There's a big audience reach.
Yeah. And I don't think that happened on Telegraph. I think it was for like when he was on Universal, like that was the time he appeared on MTV and Conan and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think he was on Conan O'Brien also in 2008 when he did this superhero movie, but maybe it was a different show. But I think he was there a few times. So that was big, and I don't know where it was, but I think it was on the Fox channel on the New Year's Eve thing where he played his hits. I Know, which he didn't play actually, huh?
Was he outside, or am I thinking of a different thing?
Yeah, outside.
Oh, was it? Yeah,
it was like they played "War Is Over."
That's it. Yes,
but they were supposed to play "I Know." So
didn't realize that.
Now, tell me about your TV show. You're still doing that on Nickelodeon?
Yeah, we started in 2004, January, and ever since it's just been like going up. The new season just aired the beginning of December, and it's going. It's unbelievable. The ratings just went up, and it's going great.
And I know you're going to perform a little later a song from your new CD, right?
Yep. We're tonight at 12:30 after the ball drops. We're going to be doing I Know from the new record I just put out, It's Only Time.
Come over there.
Okay.
Confusing. But that's something we talk later, I think, with someone. Yeah, and I wanna mention something, because my way of discovering It's Only Time is weird. Because when I discovered Drake's music in the early 2000s, I confess I downloaded it like
naughty boy,
because the law was different back then. So I downloaded his stuff, and when he released not a Periscope, when he released It's Only Time, I also downloaded this. But I didn't
forget though. In your defense, you do live in Germany. It wouldn't have been quite as easy to access.
Huh? Oh yeah.
You know, like
maybe. I don't actually know, but I think Telegraph wouldn't be so easy.
No,
but I think It's Only Time probably was released. In
I was
Germany,
just trying to help you out there.
Yeah. No, you're right. It wasn't released at all.
No, absolutely.
No,
yeah.
there was no way for me.
Now.
But also, I was like 13, so I downloaded It's Only Time as well, but I didn't listen to it.
Right.
I forgot. I just didn't listen to it. And when I was at my mother's apartment, like when I was still in school, I visited her when I had no school, like when I had free holidays. So
yeah.
And I was back then sleeping very long, and my mother like she tried to wake me up, and I didn't wake up so easy. So one time she got the idea just to play loud music in my room to get me to wake me up. And she did this for a few days actually. And at
consecutively
one day,
non-stop music just to get you up.
Yeah. And at one day, I mean, she just played my iTunes playlist, like everything. Like she didn't choose any specific playlists.
That's funny.
Just played through the whole discography I had on my iTunes. And at one morning, I heard like all the songs, like Break Me Down and Falling For You and stuff. And I was like waking up with this, and I was like, what is that? That's fucking good. And my mother as well, she was asking me, what was the music like at this morning? And I was like, I need to check out. And then like my mother was kind of like responsible for me to discover that record.
Right.
And she liked it a lot. So she told me. And so we listened to that for years. And it's funny because actually I have an autograph from Drake's, I think It's Only Time record, where he, instead of my name, wrote the name of my mother on that. because it was when he still was in his house, like 12 years ago, something. They were selling Telegraph records signed by Drake.
Right.
There were even videos on Facebook how he signed stuff.
Right.
And my mother was ordering that for me.
So therefore her name was on it.
And they didn't understand it was for me, so they put her name on that. I still have that booklet. They resent me the correct booklet a few weeks later. So, because
that's nice.
I told them, and they were like, "Yeah, we will send you another one with your name on it." I still have it somewhere. I should have digged it out for this episode, but
That's
yeah.
funny.
So that was my way of discovering It's Only Time. Like I was waking up with it and fell in love with it. So
Yeah. I actually can't remember how I discovered it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't remember. Like, it's nearly 20 years ago. I don't remember what I did yesterday, so...
yeah. If we want to dive into a Periscope, I gotta say this. I did... Like, a Periscope was like the last song I discovered on that record, because
Right.
when this album was new to me, I never understood that this intro has a song after the 40 seconds, you know?
Right.
Like, I always skip that shit. Like, I always was like, oh, man, it takes
Right.
so long. I never, like... I don't know how I discovered that. I think it was also because I just played through all my music, and then there was a Periscope, and I was
Yeah.
like, what's that song?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
now it's like one of my favorites of that record.
I do really enjoy it. It is an interesting question, though, as to why it was baked into the first song. Because of Telegraph album, the intro, which is, you know, walking through the gate and, you know, into the rehearsal room, that is a separate track that, you know, you can skip if you wanted to. So it does make me wonder why there's no real fade into it as such. I mean, there kind of is a little bit, but
Yeah.
it could have easily been a separate track.
Yeah, true.
Anyway.
Like maybe, I don't know. Actually, it's true. It would have been 12 tracks on the record. And maybe that's something they didn't like, because I feel like these classic albums, like it was inspired by like classic vinyl
Yeah.
record, and they usually had like 9 to 10 or 11 tracks, and maybe they didn't want to have the 12. It's really probably not the truth, but I can imagine maybe something like that.
I'd have understood if it was 12 tracks that would become 13, and that's sometimes an unlucky number.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know. But
Yeah.
yeah, who knows?
Who
I guess
knows?
one thing to mention about this song particularly, is I remember the interview that CJ Abraham did a long time ago. The chap's name escapes me now who did the interview.
Kevin Dunn.
That's the name. Yeah. Sorry, Kevin. CJ Abraham did the interview with Kevin Dunn, and that is on the Drake Bell Covers YouTube channel if you do want to check that out. And on there, CJ actually mentions this song. It was essentially a song from him to his wife. Mm-hmm. And apparently the connotations are not what we think of as being just a song about sex. But who really knows, you know?
I think CJ, like, as far as I understood, he brought a lot of ideas into the It's Only Time sessions, like that song and I Know and stuff like that. And they kind of then finished the stuff with Drake and Mike, like as like a three persons.
Trio,
Yeah. So I would be really interested to hear how the song sounded before they worked for the record on it, because probably the lyrics were all different. Probably some chords were different. I don't know, but would be interesting to hear that. But I definitely think this is like, we need to talk that the song is about sex, like, and it's funny because, like, it's like he was really like his audience was really young people.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So-
I guess it was just him trying to break away from Nickelodeon a bit, wasn't it?
yeah, I think so. And I mean, they didn't have explicit lyrics.
No. And in
So
fact, there
you-
are some censors in the songs later on, aren't there? Like toilet flushing and
Yeah.
other things that happen. So
To-
it is
to hide
PC, but you know.
Yeah. But yeah, it's kind of funny because the song starts with that submarine intro,
Yeah.
which probably should be a reference, also has a reference to Jellyfish a little bit, but also to the Beatles' Yellow Submarine. And then it turns into a song about making love. But it's actually like, I think it's really clever because like up periscope, we all know what that means in the song. It's really it's like good lyrics. Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
really, I wouldn't have had this idea.
It's, yeah.
Really done, really good.
It is clever writing, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and especially for me as a non-native English person, I didn't notice.
Yeah.
Like I had to notice that. I mean, I had to look up the lyrics. It's really good lyrics.
Yeah.
I really love the
absolutely, yeah. And I think as well, it must be the only time in history that Up Periscope
Sorry,
has been.
I was a
referenced
little
to
bit
that.
in the lyrics right now. So sorry. Continue.
No, I was just saying. I think it must be the only time in history that the term "up periscope" has been used for that. That to my knowledge, that is not a term that anybody uses
No,
at all,
No.
unless
No,
you're in a
I-
submarine.
I mean we would have to ask them if there was like some specific inspiration for that.
Yeah, or local dialect.
But I haven't heard it
before.
before
No.
that way. I haven't heard it before that way.
It's funny.
Yeah, and it's really good because you can have this Yellow Submarine reference and from the sounds and lyrics, but you mean something totally different, which probably the kids didn't even notice back then.
Yeah, true.
I mean, he had not only kids as fans, but a lot probably from the Nickelodeon the audience didn't notice, and
yeah,
that's actually
absolutely, yeah.
clever made because I think it wouldn't have been good if they noticed what the song is about.
Yeah, if it was, yeah, absolutely. If it was aimed, or I don't want to call it aimed, but the expected target audience were these young children, it would have seemed a weird thing to make it explicitly obvious about that, wouldn't it?
No. Don't you want me to be the captain of your submarine?
Yes, I do, Kai.
That's really like, this is really obvious.
Yeah.
If I think about it, it's really obvious.
It's
But-
clever. It's very clever.
Yeah.
Another quick thought before we dive in as well. Obviously, this has that submarine theme, as you've said.
Yeah.
I do wonder, though, if that inspired the thought that kind of never really came out as such as the double concept album that Drake talked about a long time ago, prior to the third album release, which was a sea and sky double concept album. And I wondered if maybe having done the submarine idea, if that maybe inspired that. I don't know.
I don't know. I never asked this anyone. Like probably, and I think the concept thing goes way more back than 2008 because that's
Oh, yeah.
like the date we know about it. Like he started to talk about this even on TRL in 2008. Like he was like teasing the concept album, which we got 20 years later. But I think I seen footage of a concert from 2005 where he was already playing like Fallen for You, for example.
Right.
So probably like seeing him playing It's Only Time stuff years before they recorded that probably means that there was stuff already in their minds about the concept thing when
Yeah.
they recorded It's Only Time.
Because of
And I mean-
course, when the sorry to interrupt you, when the Mexico DVD was recorded. I think that was 2010, 2009, 2010, something like that.
No. Huh?
The Mexico DVD.
It was released 2008.
Oh, was it 2000? Oh, it's earlier than I thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
He played again in the Auditorio Nacional like in 2010, but it was never
maybe that's what I
released,
was
sadly. I wish it was.
Right. That's maybe what I was thinking. So if say 2008, there were songs like Sea Song that I'm assuming would have been for this concept album that we're speaking about, the whole sea element. And eventually the Lost album came about, didn't it? Which had Sail On, for example. Which, again, I would assume would have been written for that purpose originally. But who knows?
Probably it's really old. And also Sea Song, I think there's somewhere a video of him performing Sea Song in 27 already. So
okay.
And that was still in the, like, while he was touring with It's Only Time. Like I don't know.
'Cause that was only a year after the release.
This guy is crazy with like songwriting. Like
songwriting machine.
No one knows how long his actually unreleased discography. It's longer than what he released actually, and it's crazy. There's probably tons of demos from back to 2001 or something. I don't know. It's
Doesn't
crazy.
surprise me.
Yeah, but yeah, let's dive into the stems.
Let's do it.
We talked an hour before. That was not planned.
No.
Never mind.
But here we are.
Yeah.
So yeah, a little bit like before, I feel like just top down and just make our way through them and give our thoughts as we do. So I guess it makes sense to hear the drums since they are first. The one thing that you may notice if anyone did listen to episode 0 with Found a Way, the amount of samples on that
there.
song. Yeah, not here in this song. At least, I don't know if that was a creative choice. They might have initially had them and thought they didn't need them. Who knows?
I think actually, I mean, people will hear in a second that it doesn't need samples at all because it sounds so clean.
I mean, I think that is one of the bigger things, isn't it? It's more, the player and the musicianship really more than anything else.
Yeah, but this has no samples. So it's like the sound you hear on the drums on this song, that's the drums. Like it was not perfected with like mixing in a sample on the snare. And it's totally fine to do that. I do this all the time, but this has no samples. So it's really good.
Okay, I mean, there is some SSL EQ plugins on them, but
that's EQing.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Not sampling.
Yeah.
So it's fucking good. I'm sorry for the words in this episode, but
we'll just put a toilet flush there.
Yeah, but the actual sample they used.
Yeah, it's great. So just so you can hear what we're talking about here. The kick, for example, the kick drum, the bass drum, this is just what it sounds like. Like, I mean, as far as kick goes, I mean, if it were me, I would probably stick a sample on it.
Yeah, same.
And then you've got your top and bottom of your snares. And then you've got a nice hi-hat.
Yeah.
Add in the kick. And then you've got a couple of toms that are coming up. And
Can we check? Can we check for a second the toms, like soloed, because I want to hear the toms.
Yeah.
All right, that's enough because I just wanted to know if this is samples, and it's not. It's just
no. You hear the bleed of everything else.
Yeah. They just cut everything away when when the drummer didn't play the toms. But
yes, exactly.
Like it sounds so clean. It's crazy.
And then of course you've got your overheads, left and right hard panned, and your room mics as well. So those together, and then when you have everything else in. I mean, as far as recordings go, I mean, it's nice. It doesn't sound
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah. Can we should maybe mention that, for example, you have the hi-hat in your Logic is also hard panned.
Yeah.
But I think it's not really like, can you play it for a second?
Yeah. So this is something that I found in quite a few of the sessions, is that the hi-hat is often hard panned, and so are the toms, like completely
Yeah.
hard left and right, which is not a typical thing you hear.
Yeah. Probably, I don't know, can you play the hi-hat for a second?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
What is like, was it hard panned in the Pro Tools, in the original
Yes.
Pro?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah. Which is, like I say, I know that is not a typical mixing choice that people make, at least nowadays, maybe
Yeah.
ever. Especially the toms as well. They're not regularly hard panned,
Yeah.
they're sort of slightly halfway. But yeah, that's the case with the with the hi-hat, which,
Yeah.
yeah.
Is there a part of the drums from like later in the song you want to play? Maybe.
Well, there is something quite interesting, which they have overdubs of sticks on the snare rims as well, which is kind of nice. If I just play all of them together, just so you
Yeah.
can hear that in combination. So that would be during kind of like the bridgy part where everything pulls back a little bit. Just so you can hear that in combination with the actual drums at that point too.
That's so cool.
It is really cool.
Why didn't you pan them?
That is just how it was.
Oh, that's strange, because it says like
Like
on
left
the-
and right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's strange.
But there you go.
Yeah. Yeah. I think like we should go to the next thing, because like for the drums it stays kind of the same in the whole
Yeah.
song. I mean, it's that beat. I mean, they didn't
quite
copy and paste
consistent,
stuff,
isn't
but
it?
yeah.
Yeah. Then we have, interestingly, some loops. Now, these are loops that I'm pretty certain CJ and Mike, at least the album credits state for this song that percussion is CJ and Mike.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty certain that this loop I'm about to play you is CJ. Sort of, I don't want to say beatboxing, but you'll hear it. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
pretty certain that is him.
Can you play this with the drums together?
Absolutely. I'm going to raise it so you can hear it.
So this is something you don't notice in the whole, like in the song, at
Yeah.
all. And it could also be like samples, but it could be CJ. I don't
I'm
think it's
pretty
Mike.
certain that is CJ. I
I mean, it
would
would-
bet some money on that being CJ.
Yeah, it would be funny if it's Drake though.
I'd say I don't think it would be, but yeah, I'm happy to be proved wrong.
Yeah,
There's also then a little bit of just percussion again, just tapping.
Yeah,
again,
I
I don't
love
think
that.
a loop,
I love that.
which is here. So a little bit of reverb or delay on that. But
Yeah,
the
and that-
context of that, yeah.
Yeah, and I need to say, this reminds me like of old, like Fred Astaire movies or something, like tap dance, and like from the
Oh, yeah.
sounds. I think,
Okay.
I don't know how they made the sound, like if they actually recorded some shoes tapping on the floor.
Interesting.
But if you listen closely, you can also hear, maybe it's also CJ doing with his mouse, like doing stuff like bah, chaka, chaka, bah, something
Oh, I
like.
see. Interesting. Let's
Listen,
just hear
listen
that
to it again. I think you hear some mouth stuff.
Oh yeah, like oh yeah. Interesting. Yeah,
maybe it's CGI. I don't know, but it's so cool. I actually love these. I never noticed these in the song. I mean, I noticed there's something going on, but
Yes.
I would have never thought it's like tap dance sounds. And tap dance
Yeah.
is also like a reference to old movies and old old art, because
Yes.
tap dance was like a big thing.
Like dates
maybe
back
I don't
a-
know, in the 30s or something, 20s.
Maybe.
40s, I don't know, but like really cool.
Yeah, and let me just play for you what that sounds like in context with the song. See if you can actually pick it out and hear it now it's there.
Like a bowl of cherries, that's a very ordinary, overflowing with love. And I can never want for more unless I do become a 4 or maybe 3. And if we practiced it enough,
You can sort of tell.
You cannot unhear it now, but
I mean, that was with the volume raised, so it was a bit more obvious,
okay.
but you know.
Okay.
But if you know it's there, you can kind of make it out. And then the next kind of bit, I guess a bit more percussion. We've got tambourines. This could be samples. I have a feeling that they are, but quite a consistent tambourine sound.
it's so clean. So I don't know. I can tell. Maybe they just recorded really clean tambourines, but might be
Possibly.
samples.
Yeah, possibly. But then we also have the claps as well that are right at the very end of the song. And again, well, actually, having said that, I think these are samples, to be truthful. See what you think. I'll play one of them for you, just so you can hear it. I think they're samples.
Can you play them all together?
Absolutely.
I think it's samples.
I have a feeling it probably is. But again, I'm not against samples. Not a problem at all.
Same.
And then we have, into more of the kind of traditional musical elements, we have bass guitar, which was, according to the credits, performed by Mike as well. This is, interestingly, also very simply edited and processed, just so you can hear a bit of this.
Yeah, it's really the direct signal, right?
Yeah, quite literally. I even have here the clean version, just so you can hear how little processing has been applied. This is with nothing else on. This is the direct in.
Sounds almost
It's
the
almost,
same.
yeah, exactly. So let me switch that back to Amplitude, which is apparently what was used to create the signal. And then there's a little bit of compression and EQ. So yeah, very little done to that. But
Yeah.
it just kind of proves that you don't need to go mad with processing if you've got a nice source.
Yeah, and it bothers me that they did not like put a lot of stuff on the bass in all the songs, because like the bass is kind of the instrument I have most problems to get it like good sounding in the mix.
Yeah.
Like I hate mixing bass, and they just didn't mix it. Like it fits into it. Like how? Like I
Yeah.
think they just recorded really good, like high quality recording, and with a good bass, probably that's maybe the key.
I think that is honestly it, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd love to know what bass was used, actually. And I have a feeling it's a 5-string bass. Not for this song, but for, say, Fool the World, for example, it would make sense to have a 5-string bass.
Yeah, it gets really deep.
Yeah.
Like low from the notes get really low.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
the Fool the World episode, that will be
it's going to be a monster.
like a 5 hours thing, maybe.
That's going to be a fun one to dive into. But yeah, in terms of the bass, there's kind of not a lot to really say. I don't want this to seem at all like a criticism, but it's very repetitive. There's not a lot of
No one needs
variation.
bass players, to be honest. No, I'm joking.
No, if you got a MIDI keyboard, you're fine.
Yeah, just make MIDI. Like,
Oh no, I have to say, I mean, as far as bass goes, it's as simple as it gets. I'll just play this last bit to the end so you can hear it, because this does get more interesting.
nice.
Yeah. So that is really kind of sweet and melodic, that very last little bit there. Then we have the piano, which again, according to the credits, is Mike.
Yeah.
But there's something really weird about this piano. So let me just play a little bit, and I'm just going to find you the frequency that... in fact, there's a tiny bit at the very start here where you'll probably hear it if I raise the volume. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
I just think of it like a cricket sound. That's throughout the whole thing.
Oh.
So that's
okay.
in the whole piano track. I don't know if it was like a processing sound of like a computer source nearby or so. I don't know.
Oh, that's strange.
But I'll play you some of the piano, and I think this is so underrated to this song.
Yeah.
I just think it's wonderful. Particularly, I'll just play you some. It's great. Like lovely, nice block chords.
Yeah.
Like easy going. Very sort of ELO kind of feeling, I suppose. But when it gets to verse 2, for me, that's where it gets really exciting, because it's almost, I don't want to call it honky tonk, but it has
A
that
little bit.
kind of vibe to it.
Yeah.
Let me see where that is, because I just think it's great. Must be about here. After this. So good. Like, how nice is that?
Yeah, this is a favorite part of the song, but this reminds also a little bit on "It's Never Over," the
Yes.
last call on the Lost album, like that style.
Yeah.
And I mean, you need to play it together with the tap. Is that on the tap dance?
Oh,
part?
yes, it is. Yeah.
Yeah,
That loop.
And that makes even more sense like that.
So, yeah, okay, yeah, true. Both these together. It's
Like
perfect.
it totally like it
It's like a
reminds
Charlie
me.
Chaplin movie.
I just wanted to say Charlie Chaplin, man. Like this is exactly like the picture I had in my head. Charlie Chaplin movie, like all the old
Black and white,
movies.
grainy film.
Yeah, and maybe someone tap dancing through the
Yeah.
picture, or
Yeah.
like having just like a scene, like it's it doesn't have sound, so they had music and
Yeah,
they had like
yeah.
text.
Yeah. So true.
It's like that, and that's what I talked about at the beginning when I said this was an album which also had fans which were like 12, and what artist who has this kind of audience, like also like older fans, but like what artist does this kind of music? Like no one.
It's so true. Yeah. And
So
still a little bit today as well, that's true.
Yeah, I mean it's
to be honest.
it's crazy.
Yeah. Shall I continue playing a little bit?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, definitely. It's so good.
Let's go for... bridge. So that obviously is now part of that original feeling. That honky tonk part was literally just verse 2. But it's great. And just so you can hear towards the end as well.
So cool.
Perfect.
So cool.
And I feel like the piano, in a way, is a little bit underrated because, of course, the guitars when they enter, which is a big part of the sound of that song, it kind of gets a little bit hidden in a way.
Yeah. So it's good we can show people now.
Yeah,
there's
this
more.
Is actually what, yeah,
there's more behind
that?
These tracks than just like what you hear on the record.
It's true, absolutely. There's a little bit as well of an organ too.
I like how you will see, for the people watching this now, you will see on all the songs they used like organ, but not a lot. It's like they used organ on. Sometimes only like on the pre-choruses or something.
Right,
but
not throughout the whole song.
Yeah. And I think they could have used more organ, to be honest, but they didn't. But
maybe
the organ,
it just didn't need it, possibly.
Yeah, but the organ gives the songs also a really classic, retro sound.
Yes,
I mean, it would be different without the organ. Like, it wouldn't have...
True.
Like, it would be more modern, maybe. And organ is something... like artists don't use in that age, I shouldn't talk about this.
It's got a very retro vibe, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Which I guess suits maybe the aesthetic of the album, but here's the sound of the organ. This is by the looks of things the chorus. I just love any sense of glissando, that running down.
Yeah, and
perfect.
I think I'm not sure, but this could be like a real organ.
I think it is. Yeah. At least some of the organ sounds on the album are definitely real.
Like on the stamps of All Alone at the Disco, the organ it sounds way different from this one. So I don't know if they used a different one or if they just placed the microphones differently. But because this one is really clean and direct.
It's a good point. This probably is MIDI because the other ones that have real organ have multiple inputs, like the low and the high, the bass and so on. So I suspect, actually, you could be right. This is, I think, MIDI.
Maybe, but it sounds really good.
It does, definitely. And this is just the little kind of stabby parts. Nice, easy, fair. Nothing too exciting there. But just here, the piano and the organ together.
Yeah.
It's so great. I just love these little entrances. The little kind of sliding into it. It's great.
And that's actually something which I have like my problems with like organ on MIDI, because sometimes you don't get these sounds like right on the MIDI. So I'm happy they somehow got these sounds right, because like a real organ is really like sounding way better actually. But this, I mean, it still could be a real one, but it sounds really like a real one. The only thing which probably like reveals the MIDI is that it's too clean, maybe.
Yeah, possibly. Or
I don't know.
Dynamics are a bit squashed, aren't they? Maybe more than a real mic might be. And just so you can hear the very last bit with, let's say, the bass, the piano, and the organ. Yeah, it's cool. It's great. I love it.
Yeah.
So that's all the sort of key elements to it, which again, I assume based on the crediting that Mike played the organ as well, because it just says keys, Mike.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that includes the organ. And then we get to the bit that excites me as a guitarist, is all the guitar-y things, of which actually in this song there's not a whole lot of, to be honest with you. But I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
You have the it's called the chunk guitar, which is that kind of shotgun, kind of sound. Super high gain sound. What's also really interesting is, again, you don't notice this in the song, but from an audio point of view, you can hear just the harmonics ringing from that. Like, you don't notice it in the song, but they are really prevalent. It's not clean, but it doesn't matter. It works. So you've got that, which is interesting on its own channel. It happens again later on, but same sort of thing, really. And then you have a hard pan left and right. From memories, they are playing the same performance. There's one little part when we get to it that is slightly different in the left and the right channel, but they are essentially the same voicings of the chords. So just so you can hear a little bit of the guitar. So good.
It's kind of like rock and roll sound, like rock and roll chords in that. It's really that's also something I didn't notice on the record, that these little notes.
Oh yeah,
these rock and roll
this
thing.
That thing, yeah.
Didn't notice.
It's really funny. So I realised that there was something there, but I was never 100% sure how it was played until I heard this. And for anyone that's interested, just a really brief idea. So it's a really old blues idea, a blues shuffle. So you have that kind of, that kind of classic sound. But it's done over a C7 chord and a D7 chord with little stabs of that chord in between. So you hear this kind of shuffle thing. And it just sounds great. Yeah. It's got such a groove underneath of it.
That's what I mean. What I meant when I said rock and roll, I meant that blues thing, which happens, for example, in Johnny B. Good. Like, it's kind of it's like that, and I never notice that on the record.
It's kind of hard to tell, but I mean, let's think. It's heavily laid with, as we know, with so many things, which is why I find it really exciting to be able to dive into this, because I mean, what a thing to be able to hear it. Shall I just play everything together up until this point?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
We can hear that little part that we're referencing. which is really
Nice.
cool.
Yeah.
The other thing to mention, the credits on the album is for the guitars, Mike and Drake. But I'm not
Yeah.
sure what Drake plays in this, because I hazard a guess that would be Mike playing this. And there's not really much else in regards to guitar that I feel Drake would play on. So I don't know if we could ever one day find that out. I'm not sure.
Yeah, maybe they. I can imagine that they probably both played the same thing there, and they used it like Drake's guitar for like used a different guitar for the second track. But I don't know.
Possibly.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like that's something I should do in my songs. Like I should use like different guitars to have really like a different sound, but I'm always too lazy. But probably they did. Like,
Probably. I mean, CJ told me that they used, I don't know if it's for this album, this song, definitely this album, but I don't know for this song, sorry. The Variax, the Line 6 Variax guitar that was ahead of its time. It could be made into like 20 different guitars. You could have a
that
Gibson Les
MIDI
Paul or-
MIDI
yeah.
thing. Is that the one from the video Mike plays the
Yes.
solo on the
Yeah.
Nickelodeon thing?
that has no pickups.
Yeah.
Out of breath?
Yeah.
I want to have this so bad.
I know. It's unfortunately discontinued now, and the hardware to get it to work, I think, is quite difficult these days. But yeah, so I don't know if some of this was actually through the Variax. Could be.
Could be.
Which may also indicate if they have a different sound. I mean, they wouldn't then need 20 guitars. They would actually just need this one
Yeah.
that they, just change the setup of. So there is in the bridge, the stabby part, there is 2 clean guitars, and these are the ones that do something slightly different. Mm-hmm. So just so you can hear them together.
Well, okay. Yeah, the one of them is really playing like really jazzy stuff.
Yeah.
Can you play these separately?
Yes, yeah. I will play the actual legit thing for you.
Oh, I never noticed that.
And then the other one is slightly lower.
Yeah.
Very subtly so. I was just trying to remember how that was. The higher one, I think the left one, was doing... I think it was doing that.
Yeah.
And then the second one, the right one, was doing...
Sounds like that. Yeah. Sounds about right.
which anyone's interested in, it's a C going to, in either case, the first one is going to an E7, but just a really high jazz voicing,
Yeah.
into an A7, where the lower voice is going to C, to E7, to an A7.
I like this one more, but in combination,
together,
they sound
yeah.
really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really nice. That's the only thing that I seem to remember, that there is a real difference in the voicings of it. Everything else was like just a double tracking.
Yeah.
But there is also a really nice thing that happens. I believe it's around here, where the chord, the G chord hangs. There's also 2 different voices. Let me just play that guitar part for you, just because I like to geek out over this stuff. I'll play it from around here. And it does it again.
Yeah.
So there's two slightly different sounds there.
Yeah.
So again, one is low, one is high. One ends as this, like quite high up the neck, and then the
Yeah.
second one is a little bit lower.
Yeah.
But they're both playing the same chord. And again, if anyone is interested, I believe what's happening there, both of them combined together play a G9 chord. So the lower one sounds like that, but the higher one is that, which, funny enough, isn't actually a G9 chord on its own, but when it's combined with the other take, it becomes that.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
Yeah. Crazy.
And then there is a really beautiful, clean guitar thing. It's the only way I can describe it. Right at the very end, with the sort of gospel-y, choir-y vocals that would be over the top of it. One is just doing the typical chords from before, and the other one's picking out a really kind of nice melody, and this is what that sounds like.
Yeah, the left guitar is almost like country. So, like
Yeah,
cowboy
maybe, yeah.
country. A little bit.
I love it. I'll just say that bit again. Yeah. It's really nice.
Yeah. That's also probably something people never noticed.
Probably not. Again, it's buried quite deep. I mean, now that you know, if someone was to listen to it again with hearing this since, they would
Yeah.
totally pick that out, and it would be kind of obvious. But
Yeah. And by the way, like if you listen to this on Spotify right now, and if you only listen to it, I would really recommend to turn on the video or go on to YouTube and check the video, because
point.
we show the stems and we show also probably other stuff like snippets from interviews or something like on this podcast. Like it's a video podcast, so feel free to turn on the video.
absolutely. Or check it on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. So really, that's sort of it in terms of the guitar. Maybe the other thing to mention is right in the bridge, there's the little individual note. I don't want to use the word scale, but it kind of is a hybrid, where you hear the. Let's see whereabouts it might be. Here we go. I love it. I just absolutely love it.
And that's also something which really reminds of like more like jazz music.
Yeah.
Like if you play, does the piano play these notes?
It does, yeah. So both
Yep.
these together.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the piano, as you've heard, is lower.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's great.
It's great.
Oh, it's so nice. I wonder, I assume maybe the piano would have come first. Interesting, not sure.
I don't know.
These are the kind of questions, though, aren't they, about the writing process for, you know, if ever we could one day ask CJ.
I think a lot of stuff on It's Only Time was kind of improvised.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not a lot, but a few things. Like I know, for example, in Fool the World, I think it was never planned to have this long ending.
Yes.
On some point, somewhere I heard that like the whole ending was something like the drummer just
Carried
played-
on.
Yeah, and then they wrote all the backhouse part at the end. So
Oh, I guess it's like Highway to Nowhere, isn't it? What Scott was saying
yeah,
with the gospel ending.
yeah. So maybe this riff, like this run, like do 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 do, maybe this maybe Mike just played this on the piano while they're recording, and then they added it in the guitar, and it was a thing in the song.
Possibly,
I don't know.
yeah.
Could be.
There's something as well really interesting, I think, about that particular run, is because if you sit and work out what the notes are, I mean, forgive me.
Yeah,
one second.
it's confusing. I figured, like, I think the notes are confusing on that.
Yeah, I mean, it's over a D7 chord. Like, that's the chord being held, the harmony at that point, and then
Yeah.
you've got the over the top. But the choice of those notes over the top are really weird. In that, so so this is where I geek out. So I like to try and dissect things and try and work out, like, why is that working, and why,
Yeah.
why is it a thing? Why does it sound good? And I think I've worked it out. So it's essentially part of a D minor or a D blues scale, which would be, that kind of sound. And it certainly has that kind of chromatic run in there.
Yeah.
But it's going from the sound of D minor, which is a blues thing,
Yeah.
into major, which is what the chord is.
Yeah.
So you hear this kind of chromatic run going into major, and then you hear the blues scale, and then you just hear the part that makes it dominant 7 running into the octave of the note back into D. So
Yeah.
that probably makes very little sense to most people, but it does
Including
make
me.
sense. Well, see, here's the thing with Kai, right? I'm sure a few people know this, and I hope you don't mind me saying, it blows my mind that Kai can do what he does, because I'll say to him, "Oh, it's a C chord," and he's like, "What?" And I just don't get it.
I
So-
never learned. Yeah, I still cannot tell you what note I play or what chord, and that's also something Drake is like. He's telling me all the time, you should really sit down and learn how the chords, like the names of the chords. And
You
I'm
don't
like-
need to. You do fine.
And I'm telling him, yeah, but I don't do it because I'm lazy. Like all my friends tell me, like you should sit down and learn the chords at least. But I don't. It's too late. I'm over 30. I can't learn anymore, guys.
You can totally teach an old dog new tricks.
Yeah, but not me.
So the next part to it is the dobro guitar, which I think is quite an obvious thing that it's in there, but it's a beautiful thing to kind of hear in isolation, which is this. That slide.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's great. And in the context with, all the other instruments, it's just perfect. Again, that's also happening under the tap dancing bit, verse 2. It's lovely. I believe that's the only instance of that, though, which is.
Yeah.
So, beyond that is all of the guitars. Then you have the kind of more synthy sounds, I guess, which is appropriately called twinkle and water synth. Which everyone, as soon as I play this, you will recognize. It's the very first thing you hear on the first beat of that song kicking in, which is as so. I mean, it
How
really
dreamy.
highlights the chords. Yeah. It is great. That does that quite a few times. I believe it. I think it's just a copy and paste job, to be honest with
Yeah.
you. It looks exactly the same.
Yeah.
So that happens a few times in the song, which again, just highlighting the harmony of the chords as it moves by. It's really nice, actually, to be honest.
Yeah.
Then we have the marimba, which also plays a xylophone at the same time. and they sound like so. So this would be the stab of the end of the chorus going into verse 2. Which, just to pause that, it sounds like an XP computer gone wrong.
True.
Like, oh, error.
Oh yeah. Totally.
Never thought about that. It's like when it like hacks up on you.
Yeah.
Anyway, beyond that.
And
Yeah, it's great.
and that now doesn't remind of Charlie Chaplin movies, but it reminds me of like Disney movies somehow.
Oh,
yeah,
interesting.
You know? Like maybe
That's interesting.
Like, yeah, totally.
Yeah,
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
So when it's combined with, let's say, for example, the piano and the dobro, it's just so beautiful. It's so well done. Plus, I guess the loop makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just
Great. I
so
want to
well done.
to loop this and like listen to that for 3 minutes.
You're in luck. No, I won't do that. And then there's just a bit more of the same, really. We've got that same marimba sound later on. You know,
Yeah. Error.
error 404, file not found.
No one knows what 404 means, but
It's true, yeah. But supposedly a common error.
yeah.
Then we get on to the trumpet, or rather the horn section, I guess. You would
I think
call
it's only trumpets
and sax.
and sax, yeah. But
Yeah.
I think these were all played by CJ.
Yes, according to
And-
the credits.
Probably CJ only plays trumpet and sax, so they they could have used like a classic horn section, like having also like a trombone, like and stuff, but they only had like trumpet and sax. And,
Yeah, true. Yeah.
But I love actually when these come in. I wish, and I'm speaking for a lot of Drake fans now. I think many people would have preferred to have these whole brass section on the song like they did it on the live DVD.
yeah.
I miss that on the studio version.
Yeah.
So I'm happy when this comes in because it's a little bit like the live version.
It's a really good point, actually. You've got a couple of interesting ones. You've got trumpet shakes, which just to hear that in isolation, it's just really nice. That kind of thing. It's great.
Yeah.
Ah, it's lovely. But then when it's combined with the rest of the trumpets, this is what that sounds like. It's so tastefully done. And then a swell.
Yeah.
It's just
So cool.
really nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's obvious that there are horns in this song, but you just don't get to appreciate it in the same way in the
Yeah.
whole mix.
And also, you wouldn't think it's like 8 trumpet tracks or whatever.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a good point. But then we also have saxophone,
Yeah.
of which there are 6 of them, all kind of aligned at different times, which sound like so.
Oh, these could be MIDI.
They do sound like MIDI. I wasn't going to say it, but yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, yeah.
They're too clean. But then when you combine that with the other trumpets at the end, it's really nice.
Yeah.
It's great. Which is, of course, playing that same lick line over that D7 chord.
Yeah, but it's I love this so much.
Yeah, it's so good. Let me just, for my own sake, let me just hear all those bits on that section. Yeah.
I gotta say, like the sax, like it doesn't need to be there because you actually you cannot hear it on the album. Like I would never have thought there's like a sax playing these notes.
Maybe you would have felt it was emptier if it wasn't there, though.
Maybe, yeah,
Possibly.
because I think people forget that this is like a reason a lot of times to have something on a certain part in a song, like because sometimes you hear stuff well, you hear when it's not there. Like you don't hear the element in the song, but you would hear when it's missing.
Yeah, it would feel like something's not there.
And that's something people often, I think, forget, that it's not only there to be heard. Sometimes it's there to like be in the context of everything. Like, to sound good in the context of everything. So.
No, absolutely, I agree. So it's a little bit like that piano run being lower and the guitar being higher, and together it just kind of fills the soundscape, I guess, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, do you want to do the intro first before the vocal?
I think we should. Yeah.
Okay.
I think the intro mainly was CJ also like talking and stuff.
Yes, yeah, you can definitely hear.
Captain
he is
on
the
the deck.
admiral.
Captain on the deck.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. Which I'll just play you some of these. In fact, let me put all the announcers on, and you can hear them in context without all the sounds.
Captain on the deck. Captain on the deck.
Hello, crew. This is Admiral Abraham. Letting you know that it's going to be a fine cruise today. We're going to see a few sea cucumbers, maybe a couple sea monkeys, some starfish, hopefully a humpback whale.
Prepare to ventilate.
Drink Bell, please report to the captain's ready room.
See what you can do to avoid those jellyfish.
Start the blower on all main power stations.
Oh.
What are you thinking?
Yeah. There is like they even mentioned jellyfish there. Like, I mean, jellyfish, of course, is. I mean,
a sea creature, but yeah.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure, like, this was, like, not only because you are in the sea, it was also because they listen
Easter
a lot
egg.
to jellyfish, yeah.
Yeah. Whereabouts is that? Let me just see.
I
Is
think-
that this one?
Yeah, I think this one.
See what you can do to avoid those jellyfish.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is he saying there?
There's too many jellyfish.
He's saying, avoid the jellyfish. There's too many jellyfish.
Oh, okay. I didn't understand that.
I'll play that a
See what
bit
you
again.
can do to avoid those jellyfish. Avoid the jellyfish. There's too many jellyfish.
Avoid the jellyfish. Yeah. Great.
So you could be right. It could be a little nod to jellyfish. That wouldn't surprise me, to be honest.
Yeah.
Seahorses,
Ticket on water.
not sea monkeys.
Drink Bell, please report to the captain's ready room.
Repair tubes 1 and 7.
Prepare to ventilate.
Down periscope. Make your depth 150 feet.
There you go.
Oh man, you know what would be great? Like maybe in future, I don't know if someone can do that. Like from the team back then, they should re-release that record in Dolby Atmos. Like
Oh, yeah.
it would be so cool. I mean, we could mix that, but I have not experienced a lot with Dolby Atmos, so I wouldn't do it. But someone like Mike, he will never do this, but please, we need a Dolby Atmos release of that record. It would be so
Yeah,
crazy.
that would be really cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
And imagine to be able to hear it in a Dolby studio.
Yeah.
That'd be incredible. There's also something I've just realized here as well. You can hear during this voice 4. I assume they recorded this not in a booth, but in the control room where everything else was, because you can hear the bleed of the playback at the time. And you can hear people chatting in there.
Yeah, I noticed that on a lot of
Yeah.
older sessions. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, in that case, it makes sense because why wouldn't there be people in the background? You know,
It's true. Very true. Yeah,
so
good
it makes
point.
sense. You don't need to keep that, like, cut that out.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be clean, does it, really? It's not the intention musically. But then you have the whole sound of, the water and the atmosphere of being supposedly in a submarine. I'll play a few bits of this. You got the submarine sound. Fairly straightforward. You've got another one. Has those kind of little pings in there. And a third one, which has that sort of beeping as well.
Yeah.
I also really love the sound of these bubbles. It's just like ASMR.
Yeah, true.
It's great. Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
You've then got the submarine horn. That sort of announcement sound. And then towards the end of that, as the song really begins, you've got the sound of the waves splashing, I guess, coming to surface. As well. And all of those little bits together, as I'm sure you're aware, within that, it just creates this feeling. It's great. And final thing I'll just mention on this too is it seems to be a bit of a thing that happens in the crediting of this album as well. They mention a credit or a thanks to Steve Brackett, the rare albino Demdar, which is what they say here.
Corcoran, it's a rare albino Demdar.
Oh.
So I guess that's a bit of a joke to them or something.
Okay. Crazy. Never noticed.
Yeah. So yeah, that's right at the very bottom of the album credits is a thanks to Bubba, which was I think Mike's dog.
Yeah.
And Steve, I think could be his dog.
We will hear Bubba later on the record.
Next episode, yeah.
In the next episode, yeah, true.
Yeah.
I think.
I'm pretty certain.
Yeah. I don't know about Steve. Like, we gotta ask someone else.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But so that's the intro. And then, of course, the song begins. There's a few of these little bits of announcements, the Admiral in particular, kind of littered throughout. Which I guess we'll get to. Or should I play some of the Admiral sounds now while I'm on that subject?
I think we can start with Drake now, and then we play these.
Yeah, when they get to them.
Yeah.
So this is Drake's vocal. Very little happening to it in terms of processing. There's some EQ, there's more EQ and a little bit of compression, and then you've got some reverb and some delay. So about as simple as it gets. I mean, I don't want to say this, but I'm pretty certain there would have been some light pitch correction as well that was applied prior to all of this.
Which everyone does. It's like, I mean, today everyone does like 100%. Not everyone, but like modern stuff. Like Drake didn't use it really to make his voice sounding different.
No. Although I guess it was done, which we'll get to in the future, in Fool the World at the very end. There is a very clear snapping
definitely
effect to that. But again, that is for effect. So, this sounds as so.
If I could have a single wish, I'd only wish to never miss it when you wake up and smile. It makes me happy when you steal a little kiss before you wake me up to listen to the news for a while.
So very clean. Nothing in terms of like phasing or any weird effects attached to it. It's all straightforward.
Yeah.
Just so you can hear a little bit of that chorus as well.
Whoever said romance was over, roll over. So I can show you, don't you want me to be the captain of your submarine up Periscope? And that's what I say. That's just my way of saying that I love you.
Nice. And then you have this separate, totally clean, I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Whispered in there.
20-year-old Drake.
Yeah.
It's interesting. You can hear how young he is. I mean, he's
Yeah.
older than Telegraph, but he's still like if he sings he sings different now.
Yeah.
Like, he sings better obviously now, but I think he was more nosy back then, like on It's Only Time.
Yeah, right. So there's one thing that I think you will have noticed this. His younger voice, there's a lot of like
Yeah,
forceful breaths at the ends of lines
Yeah.
that I don't really hear so much anymore. So I don't know if that was a conscious kind of stylistic effort or choice or just something he did. But he doesn't seem to do that now.
Probably it just has to do with naturally changing, growing. Because like when I listen to my music like 15 years ago, I also I used to go down at every end of the sentence, you know? Like I was always
okay.
I was not like stopping the note, I was going down. I don't know
Right.
why. So, and when someone mentioned, I stopped because I thought it's shit. So,
Right, okay.
But I mean, vocally, I think the album is great. The It's Only
Yeah,
Time record.
absolutely.
And it's interesting because if you compare it really to like the Nashville sessions, which was actually recorded before Telegraph, I think.
Yeah.
You can hear this. He's more like trying to be a rock singer, like growling
yeah.
stuff, like in Don't Preach, for example.
You say that I suck and I'm lousy. You say I can't write.
Which is
Yeah.
part of Telegraph. He's trying to sing dirty, and I think on It's Only Time he was going away from that because it didn't fit the style.
Possibly. I think you could be right, yeah.
Yeah.
Just to tie into this, is a little bit of the telephone vocal in the kind of bridge part as well that has that, kind of high and low passed sound to
Now,
it.
I know that life is hard. I know that love can break your heart. That's just the way that it is.
Yeah.
And the other thing that...
and the S.
Yes,
is
yeah, I
cut
was just
off.
going to say, yeah.
It bothers me so much.
But
It comes back in the other
Yeah.
track.
Yeah, I feel like that. I think that's an error. To be truthful, I don't think they would have stylistically thought I'm going to stick that S in the clean bit because it really pokes out here.
Yeah.
But you're totally right. Yeah, something I noticed too. Then you get to the backing vocals, which is, I guess, the exciting part of the vocal arrangement.
Yeah.
There's quite a number of these. Again, some of them sort of serve a different part of the song, but in this case, go.
And we should mention this time it's CJ and Mike together, and it's for almost like the whole record that they both share on the backing vocals. Sometimes Drake is in there too, but it's mainly
Mostly
CJ.
Mike and CJ, isn't it? Yeah.
And on Found a Way it was only Mike. And
Good
I
point,
think
yeah.
I think we will listen to that in a second, and you will notice that their voices really fit to each other. They really work
Absolutely.
together.
There was also something that I didn't realize. This is totally off topic, really, but do you remember Mike's Christmas Promise?
Yeah.
So CJ once posted, I think it was a video. Sorry, it might have been just audio. Can't remember. But it was a few years ago where his children were involved, singing along to Uncle Mike's song. And I don't know if you remember this. And
Not
so
sure.
CJ was singing various harmonies over the top of that. It was just as a joke, it wasn't serious. It wasn't professionally done. It was just through like a phone recorder or something. And it made me realize how much CJ sounds like how I think of Mike.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I know exactly what you talk about because there's even songs from Drake's unreleased album. Like I think there's a song on which only CJ did the backing vocals.
Right.
And I always thought it's like Mike or both of them
Yeah.
or whatever. I think it might be Shades of Grey where only
Oh, you could
CJ
be right.
is singing the backing, I think.
Yeah.
And I never noticed because their voices sound really similar. Like they work together really good.
Definitely, yeah, they blend really well. So these are the backing vocals that happen. I believe this will be the chorus, and sounds like this.
Whoever said romance was over, roll over, so I can.
It's really cool. So you can definitely hear that really high one from CJ,
Yeah.
as well, in there, and then just beyond that,
And that's what I say, that's just my way.
it's great.
Yeah.
I mean, when you combine that with Drake's vocal, just so you hear that, it's basically now it's a cappella, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whoever said romance was over, roll over, so I can show you, don't you?
So good.
Yeah.
It is great. However, I believe a lot of these are just then copy and pasted.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of the same kind of thing. But you have a little tag on to the end of the beginning, of the telephone,
Saying that I love you, I love you. Well, now.
Yeah.
which is great.
Yeah, and there's also that one CJ vocal where he sings like in this. I think the third verse, he sings the second vocal, like the high one.
Oh, yeah,
after
the harmony.
after the break.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
You're referring to, I think, this.
This one, yeah.
Like the way you like the song because it makes you hum along and tap your foot to the beat. Well, that's the way you make me feel when we're doing it for real. I can feel it
Yeah,
from
it's
my head
great.
to my feet.
Yeah.
And then I think Mike is doing something else on the side of that.
The way you like the song because
Oh,
it
it's
makes you
CJ.
hum along and tap
Yeah.
your foot to the beat. Well, that's the way you make me feel when we're doing it for real. I can feel it from my head to my feet.
It's really good.
Yeah.
But that complements the main lead vocal so
Yeah.
well. It's great. Should I play that with it?
With Drake, yeah.
Yeah. Let's see.
And like the way you like the song because it makes you hum along and tap your foot to the beat. That's the way you make me feel when we're doing it for real. I can feel it from my head to my feet. Oh.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. And that I always think of the live DVD where Mike is going like, oh,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's great. Then we've got more of the same kind of thing in the first four background vocals, which I believe are pretty much the same except for this part,
I still want you, don't you?
which is quite nice. And of course, you have the last part, which, I'll play them all together so you hear the effect of the kind of choir.
Yeah.
Saying that I love you, I love you.
That's so nice.
Yeah, that's so nice. Yeah,
So pretty.
You should play a few of these like
Individually.
isolated.
So
Like there's a really deep one we never noticed in the song. in the-
this
in the-
one.
That's Mike.
Yeah.
Saying that I love you, I love you.
Is Drake in there?
No, I don't believe so. I think
Okay.
This is either CJ or Mike as well. CJ.
Saying that I love you, I love you.
Okay.
And then Mike.
and then Mike. But CJ sounds kind of like Mike, but in a his voice sounds like Mike's voice, but in a higher tone.
It's sort of like a cleaner sound, isn't it?
cleaner and higher and not
Yeah.
as dirty. Like
Yeah.
yeah.
So you get that, as I say, that beautiful blend.
Yeah.
Also, CJ and CJ. So actually,
Oh, can you play this
three
again?
quarters of that. That's all CJ.
Can you play this again? The high one. No, the other one.
Was it this one?
I don't think. I think it. No, I think it's the one. Yeah. This actually could be Drake. This actually
Do you
could be
think?
Drake. This could be Drake because I hear something there which sounds like Drake. Can you play this again?
Just to say, I believe on the credits for this, Drake isn't in the background vocals, but that doesn't mean to say that that's not the case.
Let me listen again.
I'm certain that's
The
CJ.
thing is, he has this raspy thing at the very beginning. Like there's a little raspy. The voice is a little bit, and this sounds like Drake when Drake sings like demos, like in
Okay.
voice notes or something on WhatsApp. This sounds exactly like this.
Interesting.
I can't show you, but
Yeah.
I need to ask him. What's the other thing? Other
I'm
like
just going to hear what this
Yeah.
one is.
that's CJ
That is
again.
CJ, yeah.
I need to ask Drake because that sounds like Drake.
I mean, it could be. My bet would be CJ. So it would be interesting to find
It
out.
makes more sense if it's CJ because why should Drake sing this little part?
Yeah.
But
yeah, true.
on the
yeah.
other hand, maybe they forgot this vocal.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Who knows? Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We
Stranger things have happened.
gotta find out.
And then we have a couple of other background vocals as well, just to hear these.
I never said it, no, I don't regret it.
Which again, I
cool.
think these are all CJ.
I think so. Yeah.
It does sound like it.
I never said it, no, I don't regret it.
Just hear this one.
I never said it, no, I don't regret it.
And this one, I'm certain is too.
I never said it, no, I don't regret it.
Yeah. So, I mean,
And that last one is auto-tuned.
oh, is it really? I've never really paid attention.
Said it, no, I don't regret it.
It is. It is.
Is it?
if you work with auto-tune for decades,
Oh, sorry.
you know how it sounds.
Sorry, I misheard you. I thought you said it's out of tune.
Oh no, it's auto-tuned.
Auto-tuned. Yeah, yeah. got you.
Auto-tuned, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Sorry, I get
my
you.
wrong pronunciation of
No,
words.
not at all. No, I was thinking like, is that the
auto-tuned.
wrong melody? I was like,
No. It's
yeah,
no,
I get you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there are a few of those that happen in the album, but I mean, fair enough. Everyone does it.
Yeah.
What's this one?
Means
Oh yeah, of course.
These little things CJ did
Yeah.
like through the whole song.
And I absolutely love this line because it's obviously implying that means ing, and they censor the ing as this little cartoon sound, which I think is amazing.
that means
Yeah.
Which I
That's
just
great.
think is great.
Yeah.
And I must admit, I don't think I really fully appreciated that cartoon effect was in the song.
Same.
Really.
I don't think I noticed it like before I heard the stem session.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Just to hear it in context, I mean, it's so obvious now.
3, and if we practiced it enough.
True.
It's weird, but yeah, it works perfectly. And then we have the little Admiral sounds,
Yeah.
which again CJ kind of dotted throughout,
Periscope.
Periscope.
which I believe he just does that quite a few times.
Periscope.
Periscope.
It's, exactly the same, and I imagine it's the same throughout. okay. That is different.
Yeah.
Up, Periscope.
Yeah. Which I think these are all different
I think
as well.
they really had fun in the studio. Like,
Yeah.
really good days in studio.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can tell that and I don't want this to sound negative.
Like
but
I
they
can
had
imagine.
fun.
I can really imagine like Drake, like doing like the last season of Drake and Josh, like, and then after that he goes to the studio. They work on these tracks. That's
Yeah.
probably what they did. And yeah, maybe partying a lot in the studio. I don't know.
I guess.
But
Yeah,
I guess.
I imagine
but
so.
I don't know.
I could only imagine it was just a really fun group of friends hanging out, and they were
Yeah.
like joking and messing about and being like, "Oh, that sounds really cool. Throw that in."
Yeah.
And having no real thought about it, but I don't want it to come across as like they didn't care about what they were doing. But
No, I don't think so.
You know, I
just-
bet it was just fun.
Yeah.
And then you've got the sound of the ping as well.
Yeah.
Kind of dotted throughout, which just kind of highlights one of the nice kind of beats.
Submarine up Periscope.
Yeah, that's something I noticed in the mix.
Yes. Yeah.
And I always thought it's really cool how it
Yeah.
sounds.
It's it kind of ties in the whole beginning, setting the scene of the submarine, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's kind of
Yeah.
that sound throughout then as well.
Yeah. Little
but-
bit like theater, like a musical, whatever. Like
Yeah.
little bit like that, like a soundtrack, maybe.
Exactly, and that basically brings us sadly to the end of the stems, the
Yeah.
multi-tracks. I mean, there's a lot in there, and you know, I could spend hours just kind of sitting and listening
It's
to it.
99 tracks, right?
Yeah, including the
The buses.
yeah,
Yeah.
the processing, but yeah, it's a heap of sounds.
yeah.
Which I think is great. So just as before, should I play us out with slowly introducing all the bits? Is there anything you wanted to say?
No, I think we should do that. Like we should do that always at the end of our episodes.
Cool.
I don't have anything to say. I think that
I think
It
we
was
said enough,
great.
didn't we?
it's enough, yeah. It's definitely enough for this episode. Didn't think it would be so long. There's a lot of tracks I forgot.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I will begin with maybe the vocal and start bringing in the instruments through it.
All right.
Here we go.
If I could have a single wish, I'd only wish to never miss it when you wake up and smile. It makes me happy when you steal a little kiss before you wake me up to listen to the news for a while. And when you're creeping out of bed, I sneak a peek to see just what you were wearing last night. Or what was left of her from ripping off your clothes. I checked to see the door was closed as you were turning out the light. Whoever said romance was over, roll over. So I can show you, don't you want me to be the captain of your submarine up Periscope? And that's what I say, and that's just my way of saying that I love you. Life is like a bowl of cherries, that's a very ordinary, overflowing with love. And I can never want for more unless I do becomes a 4 or maybe 3. And if we practiced it enough, whoever said romance was over, roll over. So I can show you, don't you want me to be the captain of your submarine up Periscope? And that's what I say, and that's just my way of saying that I love you. I love you.
Well, now, I know that life is hard. I know that love can break your heart. That's just the way that it is.
Well, baby, that's a load of smack, and don't you know I've got your back? What's important is the way that we live. And like the way you like the song that goes, it makes you hum along and tap your foot to the beat. Well, that's the way you make me feel when we're doing it for real. I can feel it from my head to my feet. Whoever said romance was over, free. But I still want you, don't you want me to be the captain of your submarine? Up Periscope, that's what I say. That's just my way of saying that I love you, I love you.
No.
Nice.
Excellent.
Yeah. Nice. So before we end this episode, I think we should say that when this episode is online, the next episode probably will be a week after that, I think. Right? I think we will be on holidays by the
Yes.
when the next episode comes out, we're not here, but we record 2 episodes so we can release 2 ones while we are not home. And I think when this one is out, we should release this one week after, right?
Cool. Yeah, works for me.
And then we will see when we record the next ones. But the next episode will obviously be I Know.
Yes.
And then I don't know which one because I don't have the order of the track list.
Is it It's Only Time?
Maybe, or Do What You Want. But
Could be Do What You Want. Yes, it's Do What You Want.
I'm not sure.
I think
but
you're
yeah,
right.
just wanted to mention that. And
Yeah, I suppose I just hope that everyone enjoys us rabbiting on and talking about stuff for hours.
yeah.
And I hope it's interesting.
So I will say goodbye for now. Maybe you want to have the last words on this episode. Bye bye, guys.
Yeah, thanks for listening. If you've made it this far, congratulations and thank you. But yeah, if you do enjoy what you've heard, please do obviously subscribe. Let us know in the comments. If you have any questions, we can try our best to answer them at our end. You know, if maybe you've listened to a song on the album and you think, am I really hearing this bit correctly? Let us know. We can try and help you out.
True.
So without further ado, we will move on to the next episode soon, and we will hopefully see you all very, very soon. Bye.